Well, here we are, day 26 in lockdown. Yeah.
Stardate, Captain's Log, April 17th, 2020. Day 26. What's a day? It's actually the 16th of April. I've lost all concept of time, and I'm slowly falling apart, breaking apart. The madness is consuming me, and I just don't know what to do. You hate my bad behavior. You cut my loosened tongue. You play the part of savior. I just don't know what to do, Captain. Things are feeling a bit woozy. The days are turning into nights. The nights are turning into days. The weeks to months. Every month feels like a day. Every day a month and a year. I don't know what to do anymore. My hair. What's happened to my hair? It's all gone. Oh no. What the flipping hell happened?
And currently, it is also snowing here on the 16th of April. So, I'm going to try this for the, 5th time now. So, you're going to get this part, which is now being recorded after everything else has been recorded, but put in place because I apparently lost a whole bunch of footage. So, what this section was just to kind of catch you up on what's been going on. I'm in quarantine right now. I've lost all my jobs that I worked during the daytime. I lost all the running events and races that I cover, and all the theater events that I cover as well have all been shut down because of the coronavirus quarantine. So it's affected me in a big way. And some of the things I wanted to catch up on is, as you can tell, this is not my studio. As of January, I made the decision to move out of the studio, and luckily I did it just in time before everything hit. So I didn't get caught up with rent payments not being able to be paid. So I took a spot in our house and converted the office over to the studio, and this is where I am now. And hoping that I can work as efficiently here as I did there, which was not very efficient now. But life has definitely taken an interesting turn over the last month. I've never been home for this long with not much to do. So a couple of things I've been working on have been some films and trying to figure out how I can better use my Patreon channel now that I brought it back. And because photography is not an essential business, theater's not an essential business, running's not an essential business, and my day job was an essential business, everything got shut down. So I'm at home with a lot of time on my hands trying to figure out what exactly I want to do. And one of the things I really want to try, and I'm going to push for going forward, is to attempt weekly films. Now, this is going to have to replace my weekly film for this week because I was doing a gear review before I recorded this. Then I recorded this. Then I went to go check my footage, and I lost everything from the gear review. It went to go switch between the two cards and decided it didn't want to save it, which usually if it switches cards, it automatically continues recording, and I don't have an issue. And this is the first time this has ever... There's nothing there. I even went to try to recover on the cards over the last 2 hours, and there's nothing there on the cards to recover. Just a very odd situation. So here is what I'm thinking about for the weekly films, and this is where... So, yeah, my camera decided to take a poop there for a second. But some of these things are going to be determined as to what's available and what I can actually do out in the world. But so what I have in store for some of these weekly films are once a month is to go through some of my back catalog of footage and put together one of my main films. So one of those is already out. I took some footage from Last Runner Standing last year, put on by Trail Methods. You can go view that on my page, on my Vimeo. It's put on by them. It's basically a mile course that runners just keep running at a timed interval, and they just keep dropping until there's one person standing. It was a fun time. I've kind of had the footage sitting in there since last year. Hadn't had a chance to get to it, but this last couple weeks allowed me some extra free time to get through all my back catalog of, hey, what's holding you up from doing things, and it's now out. So go check it out. The next one in the queue is one during the time I was filming for the Beast Coast Trail Film Series. I filmed at Sagahunda for Fleet Feet as kind of a thank you. But that video has already been up for a while. What else I also recorded was some footage from the Battle at Bristol, one of their newer races. It was my second year there. I was there for the first year to get some photographs, and then I came back and did some video. Not all the video is great, perfect. I feel like I'm missing some stuff, but hopefully I can create something that is fun to watch and kind of shows off that race a little bit as something different in the area and something different on the East Coast for people to check out. So that's my ideas for some of the main films. I've got some theater stuff that might pop up as some of my main films, depending on access to interviews and what I can do during this time. I'm going to do a monthly gear review. I have a lot of gear, not only as a photographer and video, but as a runner. And I like staying on top of gear. So that'll be one of the things that'll be popping up. I'll be reviewing some shoes. I'll be reviewing my watch, headphones, all the stuff that make my life as a runner just a little bit more enjoyable and bearable when things go not so great. So that'll be out there, but expect it to be more heavy going in the future towards actual tech gear as to, like, you know, what I'm using. Like, I'm using a GH5 to record this. I'm using the Shinobi to view it. I'm using a Rode mic. Little things like that that you might have interest in, you might not, but it gives people a little insight into what it takes to do some of these films, and whether they want to invest their time and money into learning them. I'll try to give as best an opinion as to how user-friendly they are for the beginner. And, you know, a lot of people that are more experienced and more experts, most of them won't even bother with them. But, you know, between theater photography, between running photography, and videoing films for running, there is a broad range of the things that I do and the gear that I have, so something might come of interest. I'll also have an actual tour of the van finally. It's not 100% finished. I don't know if it'll ever be 100% finished. There's a lot of things I want to put into it, but the quarantine and loss of jobs have put a severe dent in the money flow. So all the things I was planning to do for this summer are off indefinitely because it's just not feasible. I'm also not going anywhere with the van, so there's no point in upgrading anything. So I'll kind of do what state it's at now, what it looks like, what I've done, and kind of key you in on some of the things I have planned for it for the future. So that's two of the film series. A third one would be trail stories. Whether this is a one-on-one chat with a live, the race directors in the area, some of the runners, just to do a video series on some of them to keep it a little bit lighthearted and tell some of the funnier side of the trail running life. I hope to tap into some of the race directors and have them tell me some of their funniest stories, and we can go from there. Now, I kind of wanted to do this as an official series and have good old setup interviews and good footage. well, who knows how long the quarantine is going to last, and it might be something that's just in between. It might be, hey, I'm recording on my side and they're recording on their side on video over there, and we'll put something together. And then once a month, you'll be stuck with one of these, the TBA series, the boring adventures of me, you know, and you're stuck with it. I'll take some footage out there when I'm out running on some of the local trails. One of the ones I wanted to do, which is making it a little bit harder now, is to tour all the parks and kind of do a video in each of the parks. But for me to get out there when there's no people there now is usually generally like 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning. And then they're just being flooded with people everywhere. So trying to film in some place like that when it's flooded is not ideal. And occasionally my Patreons will get some music. I'll probably throw some me playing the piano like I did already on my channel. It's not the greatest thing, but sometimes it's just a release for me. What's going on with me personally? I've been bouncing back and forth between injuries over the last couple years. And the main one that's been happening is in my calf and knee area that I've been trying to work out, trying to get through. And also, right before this whole quarantine happened, I happened to get sick. I don't get sick very often. And getting sick during this time was kind of weird because it was a week before all of New York State closed down to non-essential businesses. So I was already out for 2 days, came back to work for a couple days, and then we were told to basically go home. But I've been fighting a cough. I'm feeling it now, trying to fight this cough. I had a fever that lasted for about 6 hours. I don't think it's COVID. People are saying you go get tested, but this was now over a month ago, and a lot of it was just viral. You know, you could tell by it was mucousy, it was coming up. I just didn't feel good. I attributed it to, well, I was out for 6 hours shooting in the cold, and then the next day it was about 70 degrees. So to me, it felt like it was a seasonal cold, something I kind of get every year. It just doesn't last as long. So I don't know if just the environment, my age, my health just didn't help things at all. But occasionally, as it gets closer to the evening hours, I start coughing a lot more. If I step out into the cold weather, you know, it's snowing here today on the 22nd of April. If I step outside, I start coughing just because the cold air seems to upset it. But I also want to give a shout out while I'm here to Trails Collective, who's been doing a nice weekly recap of things in the running scene, even though the running scene really isn't happening, but they're approaching and showing you some of the different things that are going on in the trail running world, and how they're coping with the quarantine that's going on. But Trails Collective is ran by my friend Ian Golden, who you may know him from the Finger Lakes Running Company or Red Newt Racing. And he's also one hell of a fast runner. But go check it out. They're doing some fun stuff over there. Him and Ellie Pell and Matt Lipsey. If you're looking for stuff to watch during the downtime, that's about a weekly series that they've been doing. As for if you want to just sit and chill, Running Inside Out has a major back catalog. I think he's approaching 100 episodes, and we'll see if he's actually going to do what he thinks he's going to do, but hopefully he continues. He's provided great insight into a lot of the local runners in the area, a couple national runners. I know he's had Chrissy Mail on there, but Running Inside Out is a great podcast. Chris is a great guy. Lots of stuff in there. Give a shout out to Many on the Jenny, who are looking at their race is about to most likely get postponed and rescheduled because of the quarantine. Eric and Trail Methods and Sheila, we love you guys and just keep it up. Twisted Branch is a little bit later in August, and I just wanted to give them a shout out. They have run a great race every year. This is the year that their race is now a Western States qualifier, and Western States has been canceled as well. So, but it gives people an opportunity to qualify for that 100-mile race. But Twisted is run by Scott McGee. He's a great guy. He's got a great set of people and staff around him for that race. And I do hope that we are kind of in the clear and we can run that race, and I can get out there and get some footage and photograph. Fleet Feet for their support for Beast Coast Trail Film Series in the past, and just everything that they do for the community. Rochester Running Company, they're a little bit new to the scene here, but they've got a great community. They're great people, always giving back. Medved, been one of the first places I went to as a runner. And when we lived at our previous house, they were kind of right around the corner, so it was an easy stop for me to stay by. And now they're all the way on the other side of town, so it takes a little bit longer to get there, and I don't get to visit as often. But, if you have a chance, and you are local in this area, but they're even online, go give Fleet Feet, Rochester Running Company, Medved, Finger Lakes Running Company, give them some of your business as they're closed down. If you can afford it, and it's not going to set you back, it'll help keep them afloat, keep their staffs afloat. A lot of the revenue is down simply because the races are down. The ability to go in and pick up race gear or regular running gear is not there, so they've resorted to online selling. But they're all great people. They've helped me do what I love to do. They provided outlets for me to get those things, and also Red Newt Racing. Ian's Red Newt Racing is one of my favorite things in this area. To be able to go to these unique races. I put together a film for him, and I've been photographing his races for the last several years. They're unique, they're fun, and the community is great. But that is something you have to say about the whole East Coast scene, is they make you feel welcome no matter where you go. So with that said, we'll see you next time.